Admiral Kethvar of the Hegemony Third Fleet had witnessed the rise and fall of 17 star systems during his 3-century military career. His crystalline exoskeleton bore the scars of countless battles, each mark a testament to the hegemony's relentless expansion across the Orion Arm. Today, as he gazed through the bridge viewport of his flagship Dominion's Edge at the besieged world of Kepler 442b, he expected nothing more than another routine planetary subjugation. The human colony on the planet's surface had held out for 6 months, an admirable feat for such a primitive species. Their plasma cannons and fusion missiles were crude but effective against lighter hegemony vessels. However, the arrival of Kethvar's Dreadnought-class fleet had shifted the balance decisively. The human surrender was now merely a matter of time. Admiral, his tactical officer, Subcommander Vex Hull, approached with the fluid grace characteristic of their silicon-based physiology. Planetary defense grid is down to 37% operational capacity. Their orbital platforms have been neutralized. Shall we commence final bombardment? Kethvar's 4 eyes studied the tactical hologram floating before his command throne. The human colony represented a strategic foothold in this sector, one that had cost the hegemony considerable resources to assault. Intelligence reports suggested these humans possessed knowledge of something called quantum tunneling drives, technology that could revolutionize interstellar travel. "Maintain siege formation," he commanded, his voice resonating through the bridge's atmosphere processors. The humans' technology must be preserved intact. Their surrender will come soon enough. That was when reality itself seemed to tear open. A rift in spacetime materialized directly between the hegemony fleet and the besieged planet, not the familiar blue-white distortion of hyperspace emergence, but something entirely different. This was a wound in reality itself, crackling with exotic energy that registered as impossible readings on every sensor array. From this dimensional tier emerged a vessel unlike anything in the hegemony's extensive databases. It was massive, easily twice the length of Kethvar's flagship, but its design defied conventional spacecraft architecture. The hull appeared to be constructed from a black, almost light-absorbing material that seemed to bend space around it. Geometric patterns of golden light pulsed along its surface in complex mathematical sequences. "What in the name of the first architects is that?" Vex Hull whispered, his normally composed demeanor cracking. Before Kethvar could respond, every communication system aboard Dominion's Edge activated simultaneously, bypassing their security protocols with contemptuous ease. The voice that emerged spoke in perfect hegemony standard, though the speaker's identity remained hidden. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth Confederation warship Prometheus. Unbound. You will cease your assault on human civilians immediately and withdraw from this system." Kethvar's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Human vessel, you are either remarkably brave or catastrophically ignorant. I am Admiral Kethvar of the Third Fleet. This system is under hegemony jurisdiction. Your primitive species has no authority here." The response came not in words, but in action that redefined Kethvar's understanding of warfare. The Prometheus Unbound didn't fire conventional weapons. Instead, spatial distortions began manifesting around 3 of his escort cruisers. The fabric of spacetime itself compressed around the vessels, crushing their quantum-reinforced hulls like paper. In seconds, 3 ships containing over 2,000 hegemony warriors were reduced to expanding clouds of superheated plasma. "Impossible," Kethvar breathed, his certainty evaporating like morning mist. "No species has weaponized gravity manipulation to this degree." "Admiral," his science officer, Tech Adept Zwaxandra, called out from her station, "I'm detecting massive chronoton emissions from the human vessel. They're not just manipulating gravity, they're manipulating time itself around their targets." The human captain's voice returned, calm and implacable. "Admiral Kethvar, you now have 30 seconds to begin your withdrawal. I will not repeat this warning." Kethvar's military pride warred with his survival instincts. The Third Fleet represented the pinnacle of hegemony naval power, equipped with reality phase cannons and quantum disruptors that could crack planets. Retreat was unthinkable. All vessels, target the human ship. Full weapons release. Show these primitives the might of the hegemony. The combined firepower of 50 warships lanced out toward the Prometheus Unbound, streams of antimatter, reality-distorting energy beams, and planet-killer torpedoes that should have vaporized any known vessel. They struck an invisible barrier surrounding the human ship and simply stopped. Not deflected, not absorbed, stopped, as if frozen in time itself. The deadly energy hung motionless in space like a lethal light show suspended between seconds. Then the human ship began to move. It didn't accelerate in any conventional sense. One moment it was positioned defensively between the hegemony fleet and the planet, the next, it had somehow translated itself into the heart of Kethvar's formation without crossing the intervening space. Dimensional folding, Zwaxandra reported, her voice tight with scientific fascination and terror. They're manipulating higher spatial dimensions. This technology is at least 1,000,000 years beyond our current understanding. The Prometheus Unbound released what could only be described as controlled singularities. Microscopic black holes that expanded to precise sizes, consuming 12 more hegemony vessels before collapsing back into nothingness. The remaining fleet found their weapons systems simply ceasing to function. As if the fundamental forces that powered them had been temporarily suspended. Captain Vasquez's voice filled the communications array once more. Admiral Kethvar, your fleet is now combat ineffective. Your weapons have been quantum-locked and will remain inoperable for the next 48 hours. I suggest you use this time to reconsider your species' expansionist policies. Kethvar stared at the tactical display showing his once mighty fleet reduced to floating scrap metal. In less than 5 minutes, a single human vessel had neutralized a force capable of conquering entire star systems. How? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Human technology was catalogued as primitive. Your species barely achieved interstellar flight 3 centuries ago. A new voice joined the transmission, older, carrying an authority that made even Kethvar's veteran soul tremble. Admiral, this is Dr. Sarah Chen, Director of Earth's Temporal Research Division. Your intelligence is somewhat outdated. While your species has spent the last 3 centuries expanding through space, humanity has been expanding through time itself. The implication struck Kethvar like a physical blow. Time travel. You've developed functional time travel. Not travel, Dr. Chen corrected. Mastery. We've had 300 years to study your technology, to understand your tactics, to prepare for this moment. The Prometheus Unbound incorporates discoveries made across multiple timelines, technologies developed by versions of humanity that have had millennia to evolve. The dimensional rift that had delivered the human warship began to close, but not before dozens of similar tiers opened throughout the system. From each emerged additional Earth vessels, designs that represented centuries of parallel technological development, each one incorporating scientific principles that challenged the fundamental laws of physics as the hegemony understood them. The balance of power in this galaxy has indeed been broken, Captain Vasquez announced as her fleet took defensive positions around the human colony. But not in the way your hegemony intended. Earth's children will no longer be defenseless prey. As Admiral Kethvar ordered his crippled fleet to withdraw, he realized that the hegemony's age of unchallenged expansion had ended. Humanity had emerged not as just another species to be conquered, but as something far more dangerous, a race that had learned to weaponize time itself. The galaxy would never be the same. In the depths of space, as the Prometheus Unbound maintained its vigil over the rescued colony, Dr. Chen reviewed temporal probability matrices showing the cascading effects of this single intervention. Across thousands of potential timelines, the message was clear: the age of hegemony dominance was over, and the age of human ascendancy had begun. From nowhere, an Earth warship had appeared, and the balance of power was broken forever.